have sovereignty, the sacred tomb in Hebron, where the fathers and mothers of the Jewish people were buried. Bethel, where Jacob dreamed of a ladder ascending to heaven. Shiloh, where the Ark of the Covenant that held the Ten Commandments for 10 centuries. So these areas and so many others that for millennia have been etched in the soul of the Jewish.
With the help of the Almighty, we are here once again in Washington, D.C. in this cold winter day, simply because, unfortunately, the United States government is again, with our president, has decided to, maybe because he wants to support Judaism, to create what is called the deal of the century, to make an idea of peace in Palestine and occupied Palestine. And our hearts ache. We are torn, we cry with this issue because unfortunately they are being conned. The United States government and our president is being conned by the Zionist PR, because there is no way that the state of Israel represents Judaism. It is the antithesis of what Judaism is. It is a direct contradiction to what Judaism is and what the Jewish people stand for. The Jewish religion, Judaism, is to be subservient to God, a religion of 3,000 years. The concept of creating a state is a mere 100-odd years, created by mostly non-religious Jews, people who detested the religion, such as Theodor Herzl, Ben-Gurion, Chaim Weizmann, Jabotinsky. These are the people who decided that they were fed up, unfortunately, with serving God, with having to do with God, and they made it an ersatz Judaism. They made a so-called Judaism called Zionism, a transformation from subservience to God, real Judaism, into pure base material nationalism, to have a land. And in so doing, they trampled on the words of God that forbids us, since the destruction of the temple 2,000 years ago, of having our own sovereignty. We are forbidden to have our own sovereignty till the Almighty will reveal His glory throughout the world, where all humanity will serve God in harmony and God will build a temple. It will be a time of peace and joy to serve God. Till that day comes, we are forbidden to make a Jewish state. This creation of the state of Israel is a direct rebellion against God. But on top of that, being that they're making it in Palestine, they're oppressing the Palestinian people, they're beating them, they've driven them from their homes. This is over 70 years since the creation of the state of Israel, over 100 years since the movement of Zionism breached the walls of the holy city of Jerusalem. Our rabbis in Jerusalem stood up at the beginning of this movement and declared that this is evil and a rebellion against God. And because they stood up and voiced the truth of Judaism, they were being brutally beaten to today. The girls and boys get arrested because they refuse to serve in the army. There is large demonstrations. Always, we are never militant. We have Palestinian flags. We have tremendous demonstrations from around the world, in New York, in Jerusalem. This is in Jerusalem, over 100,000 people. And in every place, invariably around the corners of the world. But what happens when they go out and demonstrate? They get brutally beaten and attacked by the Zionists, simply because they're voicing their opposition to a state that is evil and is abusing the name of the religion of Judaism. They're using it to con the world into being supported in their occupation. This is unacceptable what they're doing to the children of Jerusalem. Just yesterday, they barged into the homes in Mea Shearim. They ripped the Palestinian flags off the walls of this God-fearing community. Here you see them trampling people who stood out and demonstrating peacefully with horses. Our rabbis are being assassinated, arrested, and killed. This is unacceptable. This is all because we as Jews are speaking up and telling the world that it is unacceptable to have this occupation. So we are pleading with the president. The deal of the century will be when they remove, God help, speedily and peacefully, this aberration, this ersatz Judaism, this state of Israel entirely, that we can live once again in peace and harmony as we've had for hundreds and hundreds of years. Here you have rabbis from Palestine who could attest to the fact that we've lived there for hundreds of years in peace. Muslims, Jews, Palestinians, Christian Palestinians, we never had a problem of coexistence. The only problem is this infection called Zionism, this aberration, this nationalist movement that is evil, flawed, and a Nakba, a tragedy. God should help that it should end the occupation in its entirety. That is the deal of the century. We plead with our president respectfully, President, listen to our voices here in the United States and in Jerusalem and around the world. Let us bring an end to this endless river of bloodshed and suffering of Palestinians and Jews alike. God help it should happen sooner nowadays.